And just like that, it's time to plan September. August has been so busy for me, and honestly, I'm just ready to move forward into September. So I've gone for this back to school related science theme. So let's go! Hey people, it's Temi if you're new here, and it's time to plan our September spreads. But before I go on, the notebook I'm using is from Notebook Therapy. I have a lot of love for this notebook and I get questions about it constantly. So click the link in my description if you want direct access to this book. For September, I've had a running theme of doing a school-related spread, and by running theme I mean this is only my second year doing this. So last September I graduated from university, so I did a graduation theme and that was super fun. If you'd like to see that plan with me, you can take a look after this video. But this year I decided to go for this science theme, and this theme was inspired by a subscriber in the comments, so shout out to you, Miss Boss. And I always love to hear what themes you guys are doing each month, so let me know down in the comments what your September theme will be. So for the cover page, I've gone for these test tubes, that's what they're called. I've gone for these test tubes and I've gone for this kind of green substance inside. So I used the Stabilo pastel marker for the yellow, and then I just used Crayola Super Tips for the greens. I did a little bit of blending using my colouring pencils. All the materials I mentioned will be linked down in the description box. And I did a little bit of tonal shading on the glass as well. By the way, I say science theme, but this was definitely just focused on chemistry. If you know much about the three sciences, it's kind of hard to group all of the science into one. So maybe in the future I'll do a physics theme, or like space theme, astrophysics, and then a biology theme in another future date. But anyway, for this spread, then for the title I went for SEP to represent September, but also to look like it's on a periodic table. So you know how the periodic table of elements have, you know, whatever the acronym is, so like AU and then gold and whatever number it is. I don't remember these things. So I went for SEP, and ideally I was trying to find a T, but there isn't an element that has the symbol T. And I just realised platinum is PT, so I could have done SEPT. Actually, I might change that. So when you look at the spreads on my page, they will have the SEPT. Anywho, for the quote page, I had to go for the cheesiest science quote. Think like a proton and stay positive. It's super cheesy. You guys know my quotes are always cheesy, but this one has a lot of meaning for me as well, because recently I've just been feeling a little bit down. I mentioned that October has been so busy for me and very stressful, so this is just going to remind me for the whole of September to remain positive and yeah, hopefully have a better September. I made this spread very simple, so I just did a little bit of calligraphy and then capitals for the rest of it. Finally, I did this simple doodle of an atom on the side, and yeah, here is my complete cover page. I really love how it came out. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments, so let me know what you think down in the comments. If you want to see the high quality photos of my spreads, including the corrected Sept at the bottom, head over to my Instagram. I post pictures of all my spreads. Now we have got the monthly spread. I always make my boxes 6 squares by 6 squares because I need enough space to write everything I need to write to for the month. The inspiration behind this spread was a periodic table. So I just tried to put each day in its own box and I just squared it off. And this was quite long, this was quite tedious. If you decide to recreate this spread, you can definitely avoid putting it in individual boxes. You can just draw a main rectangle if you want, but this is just what I went for. Speaking of recreations, if you decide to recreate any of my spreads, please tag me on Instagram, I'd love to see them. Finally, I went with black boxes at the top for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and a simple calligraphy font for September at the top. Then I did this doodle on the side, and I don't remember what these are called, clamps, holders, anyway. We've got some test tubes on the side. And then I've got this DNA helix doodle at the top of the page. And this is just super simple, and it's something that I'm trying to do more of, like to make my spreads more minimal. But then I started to think this is too simple. So I tried to do a little doodle at the bottom, and I was just like, I don't like the look of this. So I had to Tipp-Ex over it. And that's it for this monthly spread. It's just super simple, and I really like how clean it looks. Now for my mood tracker. So I had this idea of having shelves and just having all these different test tubes on these shelves. I got this idea from Pinterest, but unfortunately there was no watermark on the image, so I have no idea who it was from. If you know who it was from, please leave a comment. I'd love to credit them. The idea was just to have 30 of these containers on a shelf. This took quite long to draw all of them, so I ended up rubbing out an entire row and then putting it below. But in the end, I think it came out really nice. I just inked it with my Faber-Castell Pip pens. And yeah, that was basically the mood tracker spread. I put this massive bowl, the one that says 20 on it, because I accidentally put too many test tubes on some rows, so I just needed to fill up the space. I added mood and habit tracker to the top in my normal natural cursive, and I've got a key on the side with different shades of green, so the darker the colour, the worse the mood for the month. So now with my habit tracker, I do the exact same thing every single month. So I've just got 6 habits that I always track, and I've got the exact same layout. So you would have seen me flipping back to my grid spacing sheet, which tells me how many dots I need to go across the page to make the spread. I just try to make my habit tracker as simple as possible. So I've just got a bit of green at the top where I'll write the habits and then the calendar. Finally, I finished this spread with just a few doodles of atoms, and that is it. That's my mood and habit tracker spreads for this science theme. Now I've got my gratitude log, so I do the exact same layout once again. So I flip back to my grid spacing sheet, which tells me how many dots across I need to go, and my gratitude log is just mainly for function. I don't really do doodles on this page. I think it's important to have 1 line of gratitude a day, just something to be thankful about. And on the side of my gratitude log, I've got this quote page, and the quote I've gone for is, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me," and it's from Philippians 4 verse 13. It's one of my favourite Bible verses, and I really had to include it. I really wanted something personal. Every time I put quotes in my bullet journal, I make sure that it relates to what I'm going through at the time. And as I said, August for me was just kind of tough. You would have known from my silence on YouTube and on my social media, I just had a really rough month, very busy month. And this is really just to remotivate me. Every day when I plan to write my 1 line of gratitude a day, seeing this kind of quote would definitely encourage me. So I urge you to also put quote pages, motivational pages that will help you as well. And finally, I've got my weekly spread. So if you're familiar with all my Plan With Me videos, I usually have an art brain dump spread, but I've actually decided to move into an entire bullet journal just for my art. So because of that, I won't have any art brain dump pages in this bullet journal anymore. So because of that, I've skipped it for this month, and I've just gone for a simple cursive at the top and the bottom for September and notes. And then I've gone for the vertical layout for this month, and I've just got each day in its own little square, almost like it's on the periodic table, but it's broken up. I then added a drop shadow, and I've got this doodle at the top of some test tubes. I added a little bit of shine with my white pen, and that concludes the spread. It's so simple, but obviously fits into the theme very nicely. So this is it for September. Here's my final flip through of this science chemistry theme, and I really love how it came out. I'm not a big fan of green. I don't use green very often in my bullet journal. I just love the hint of it on this theme, and I'm excited to see what other spreads I create. If you'd like to see the remainder of my spreads and a flip through at the end of the month, head over to my Instagram. I have pictures of all my spreads. And if you'd like to see last year's September graduation theme, make sure you click the card on the end screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Goodbye.